What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Go. You're live.
Oh, we're live?
We're live. Fucking doing it.
Hello, friendly neighborhood nerds.
What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds?
Oh, shit. Yeah, what's up, friendly neighborhood nerds? Excuse me. What's up, friendly neighborhood nerds?
Nerds.
I'm here with Robo. I'm here with Ree, who is surrounded by guys, which I think is how she likes it, which is good.
That's exactly right, yeah.
Okay.
Creepo.
We got my buddy Sam Stone, my other buddy Todd Bernardy. You guys want to introduce yourselves real quick? Starting with Sam. We'll start with Sam. Then Todd.
Yeah, I'm Sam Stone. I'm a staff writer at CBR and translator occasionally at Image Comics, and that's what I do.
Woo.
Dope.
I'm Todd Bernardy. I am an independent comic book artist that lives on Maui, and I do a couple of series. One's called Kukui Project that takes place in the future in Hawaii, and then I do another one called Disco Thunder Groove Bone about two guys looking for the last coffee plant on Earth, and that's kind of what I do.
I feel like that would be my last mission if the apocalypse does happen. I'll just be it'll be the quest for caffeine, 100%.
I'll be looking for the last cheesy gordita crunch for me. For sure.
It was white. Coffee was wiped out by an evil energy drink company. So
which is basically
you can still
what's
have
happening
energy
right now,
drinks.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. What was that, Sam? What would you be looking for after the apocalypse?
No, I'm just saying the cheese gordita crunch would probably survive the apocalypse, so I think you'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's got like Twinkie shelf life, so you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Have you ever seen one of those fast food experiments where they put it in like a jar and they're like, "We're gonna cough in this jar, we're gonna leave it open," and then they come back 3 weeks later and it looks like it's brand new.
Yeah, all those preservatives. Yeah.
That's healthy. So
it's been in your gut for days.
Yeah. So I'm surprised you don't shit out a Big Mac an already assembled Big Mac.
It looks better coming out than it did going in.
Yeah. Our human anatomy classes have failed you, Aaron or Jetta. So.
We don't use government names around these parts. No, just kidding.
I thought that was how they assembled the Big Mac anyway, or the cheesy gordita crunch.
Yeah, they just shit it out.
Yeah.
Conveyor belt.
It's just like a conveyor belt. There's one guy standing at the end of the conveyor belt like ka-gunk, ka-gunk.
It's Ronald McDonald, and he's getting fed cheeseburgers by.
All I'm thinking of is that South Park episode where is it like the giant ice cream cone and he's shitting out tacos? Have you guys seen that one?
No.
I love that episode.
It's so fucking funny, man. It's like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's bizarro humor.
So before this goes way off the rails, let's kind of go around and talk about what everybody's reading, watching, or playing. Should I go first? You guys want me to go first? Yeah, I'll go first. All right. So reading, I'm currently reading 3 things right now. I'm reading Dennis Hopeless's new X-Men run. I'm reading what's his name? Joshua Dizart's Harbinger run for Valiant. And I'm also reading Chuck Dixon's Robin Year One. I'm not sure how I stumbled upon that, but I just picked it up and I was reading it, and that's just what I've been reading. Watching, last night on the airplane, I watched John Wick for the 50th time, which is just got to be the best goddamn movie that's ever been made.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which is just as good, if not better, than the first time I watched it. It completely held up.
Is the new one out?
No. You would know if the new one was out. That'd be like first page news. Yeah.
I think it's the 28th, right? They
28th.
moved it up. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm stoked.
I'm excited for that.
Totally stoked.
What are you reading, Robo?
Well, I'm still working on most of the older shit that I got. Just so you guys know, I put some name tags under your deal. Respawn and Todd Bernardy's are red and yellow only because I'm too lazy to change it. And
Cool.
there's nothing to the colors. It's just I'm too lazy. Heather Anthos put out one of her first works from a long time ago. that she edited was this anthology called Unlawful Good that came in, and I don't know, like it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I'm reading that, and then I also checked this thing out here. So Power Rangers, I have been sleeping on. I picked up Ranger Slayer. So I'm not gonna lie, I think I brought this up last week, but I only bought it for the cover, and it's shiny, it's metallic. But I read it, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like Rangers with their heads flying off. This thing is, I've been sleeping on it, and they are definitely stepped up their game. That is pretty good. That's pretty much what I'm reading, and then trying to catch up on Batman Who Laughs and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
That's
pretty much it.
What about you, Sam? What are you reading at the moment?
Oh golly, I'm rereading Sandman because of all I love the Audible stuff so much. If you haven't checked out the Audible audio drama of the Sandman, it's a pretty faithful adaptation of the first 20 issues, and I have all the. Yeah.
The concept doesn't appeal to me. I'm sure it's good. Everyone loves it. Just the idea of an Audible, I'm like, when am I gonna sit down and listen to something? Is it really awesome?
It's not an audiobook. It's like a fucking radio play. Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I read one like with Wolverine in it before, and they are dope. Yeah.
That one was written by Ben Person before he got the nod to write the main series. That was like his audition to write the main series. He wrote a really fucking awesome audio drama for Wolverine. But yeah, no, you've got James McAvoy as Morpheus. You've got Michael Sheen as Lucifer. You've got
no shit.
Taron Egerton's John Constantine or Constantine, either way. So yeah, I've been reading. I have all the absolute volumes of Sandman, so I've been diving into those. I've been rereading Joshua Williamson's Flash run because that's about to end next month. So I wanted to kind of go, and I had to interview him this past week. So I was like, I need to know my shit. So I went back and read. I'm in the middle of reading that because he'll have written like 104 issues by the time he's done with it. And I'm also reading The Shining because if there is ever a book to read while you're like cooped up, it would be The Shining.
Yeah.
It's like, scary as shit. It's so good.
In terms of what I'm watching, I've been going over my screeners because I don't get to watch stuff for fun anymore.
Do work.
Yeah, I've been going over screeners for The 100, Star Trek Lower Decks, Winona Earp, Lovecraft Country, and Cobra Kai. So that's
Lovecraft Country.
You've seen the new Cobra Kai episodes?
I've seen the first 2 seasons. They haven't announced season. If they had finished season 3, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. And and I've been playing a lot of retro games because I set up a Super Nintendo and Nintendo in my home office. So I've been playing like Killer Instinct and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Going back to Cobra Kai, that show is tits.
It's so fucking incredible. It's so fucking good.
God, it's almost like they planned that show when they made the first Karate Kid. Like that's how ingrained into the story
it retroactively makes Karate Kid Part 3 important. And I fucking hate Karate Kid Part 3. I love 1 and 2.
Blasphemy. What about you, Todd? What have you been reading and doing, and what's going on?
I just got Octobriana from Jim Rugg. It's a blacklight comic, so it does all kinds of crazy psychedelic things under blacklight.
Wait, so you have to have a blacklight to read it, or
you don't? I'm sure there might be some secret, like, weird messages in it. Let me open this up, and I'll show you guys some of the interiors, because it's crazy. Yeah. But it's totally, I mean, it takes place in Russia in 1976, and, like, the colors are just, like, radioactive, you know?
Yeah. Is that a boobie? Is that a boobie I see?
That is a boobie, yeah. She's got you know, you don't miss anything, do you?
No.
When it comes to boobies?
12 o'clock boobies.
That's Cockmaster 5000 right there. You don't miss the shit. You don't miss anything.
There's like this crazy like 3D page.
Wow. I'm getting this as soon as this live is over.
That's rad.
That's dope.
This page is crazy.
Wow.
Oh wow.
He said that he had to take it to 5 different printers, and then they assembled it after that. I'm not sure what came from where, but Jim Rugg is always like kind of a safe bet. There's some more boobies.
I'm just nervous. I'm nervous about breaking out a blacklight in my room. That's the only issue.
Yeah. Well, just don't do it live. You're fine.
Right. Yeah. No.
Right.
It's all over the walls, on your shirt.
Yeah. It just looks like.
But if you like Street Angel from Jim Rugg, that totally like satisfies, scratches that itch. It's probably, I mean, it's a little bit more adult, but a solid comic,
Nice.
He's such a nice guy too.
Yeah. He was supposed to come out to the Maui Comic-Con. Both Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg were going to come out to that, and they canceled Maui Con because of COVID.
Yeah.
Score.
Fucking COVID.
Yeah. Last year we had Eric Powell, and that was, I've been, I've also been like thumbing through like the Goon, Dark Horse, huge compendium, hardcover compendium. I'm reading other stuff too. I'm like, you guys can't really tell, but like I'm in a pile of comics. I've been using this time to try to organize, and so
Are you like Dante?
every time,
like Dante at the beginning of the first Clerks, where you just wake up on a pile of comics.
dude, it's real. It's the thing is, like, I can't get organized because I just spend too much time reading. As soon as I pull something out, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. This is, and then like 3 hours go by, and I'm like, oh yeah, well that was the first, 3 volumes of Savage Dragon.
Oh, nice.
So,
No regrets.
yeah. So
I do that in
it's always
reverse.
gonna be
Like, I'll pick up a book. I'm like, I'm gonna finish this. 3 hours later, I'm like, oh, I fell asleep and I'm only 3 pages in. I'm gonna start this next week. So yeah. I end up not reading shit.
Yeah.
Bree, what about you?
I got a few different things on the go. I guess like everyone else, I'm rereading this guy, which is a collection of short stories that are really fucked up and awesome.
Nice.
So that's the only Chuck Palahniuk book I couldn't get through. Like,
Really?
I don't know
Because
why,
of the gut
but
story?
like, no, the Guts one, I actually have that Playboy. That
Ooh.
he published it in Playboy before that.
Amazing.
And
That's
I read it out loud to a party one night and was immediately kicked out. Like,
I need you to leave.
Man,
like, shut up.
It's one of
Shut
those
up,
kinds
Todd,
of
get out of here.
stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
who would
I've
have
also
thought?
the first 3 volumes of I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Arjun? On Kindle Unlimited. So I've been reading that manga, and it's like sick.
Nice.
The art is really, really cool, and there's a Netflix show, I think, as well, or a movie. Yeah.
Is it in the Junji Ito vein of
Yeah, it
Weird.
is a bit Junji.
Opera
Yeah,
shit.
for sure. The other thing that I've been reading that is really good that maybe you guys haven't is the 2002 Catwoman from Brubaker. It's like a 10-issue run, and it's illustrated by, or the art's done by that guy we made fun of in the Before Watchmen series, Darwin Cook, which we shouldn't have. He passed away in 2016. But his art in this is like really, really good.
I remember. She means the outtake where we didn't know, and then yeah. The outtake that will never be seen by anybody.
we were when we made fun of him, we were just making fun of his work. And it was before we
and we didn't know. That was like the thing where it was like we had to cut the whole thing. I'll explain it because you guys will never see it. But we were like making fun of the art or something, and then Ree's like, he's no longer with us, and we're like, and we try to say like, hey, let's cut. We're cutting the whole thing. We're taking the whole thing out.
But and then we just revisited it on live. So great, awesome.
Yeah. Now
Also,
we've been
Darwin
canceled.
Cook's Minutemen is the best of the Before Watchmen books.
What?
Yeah,
Interesting.
That's cool.
and that's not saying much.
Hey, people have.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a high bar. I'm just saying.
By the way, dude, I just wanted to
That's
tell
what
you
we all
that.
said too.
I just wanted to tell you I'm proud of you because Ree said that she's rereading stuff and you didn't say anything, and that's good. You're getting better.
I know. I'm trying to get better. I'm only making one joke every 7 minutes now. So
Hey, before we jump
When are we
into
going to
the
start
news,
talking about Johnny Cates?
what's that? Oh yeah. No, we'll never stop doing that. Before we jump into the news, let's go ahead and give some shout outs. Nerdettes Newsstand, hiya. What's going on? Welcome. Who else we have in here? Mikey Pasquale. Hey, people. What's going on? Aramis Murat. What's going on? He is the architect over on our Discord. He has some good stuff planned. So, hey, Aramis, if you want to drop a invite link in the chat for people if they want to join the Discord, he has some contests coming up. Ace McG, what's up? Glynis Whites, moderator with the power. Mikey Pasquale already said that. Ace McG, did I say that? Yep, sure did.
Yep.
I'm True Skills.
I want to know everyone that's watching.
Wait. Ace McGee is saying this is my first live stream. Love it already.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Welcome. That's a case of beer.
Tell us what you've been reading. Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Everyone, tell us what you've been reading.
I'm True Skills from the I Love Marvel group. Welcome. And Player 1, Player 2, whoever that is.
That's
that?
no one.
Someone never satisfied with the size of other people's knives, is my guess.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
This is a knife.
Okay, I'm going to get into some news.
Shooter.
Hell yeah.
I'm not getting into that. You started reminding me as I was saying it, so thank you for having no faith. Ye who have little faith. Sorry, I don't read the Bible. Okay. Jim Lee addresses the future of DC Direct. This was inspiring because it had been pretty doom and gloom related to DC most of this week. But Jim Lee, I'm going to quote it. When we started, we were one of the first companies, if not the first, to go out and create business that catered to that specialty market. That success has brought in a lot of competitors and a lot of companies that are now in that space. So it's about evolving the model. We want to produce those collectibles and serve those fans, but we'll probably shift to a higher price point collectible and more of a licensing model, working with manufacturers we already work with, which we saw that coming. From a consumer point of view, there will be a change or drop. There will not be a change or drop off in the quality of the work they are seeing. Behind the scenes, how we create it and how we get it to them is going to change. We still have our principal lead of DC Direct, Jim Fletcher, with the company. He'll be showcased in a fun panel with J. Scott Campbell at the Fandome. And then, just as an added note, so that's the end of the Jim Lee quote. But as an added note, DC collectibles will still be produced and sold, but licensed out to other companies rather than produced in house. It's more or less what he said. Nice. Thoughts, feelings.
Cool.
You just got to pay more for your statues now, and they're just not made by DC. Yeah. From my standpoint, that's the big change.
Yeah, pretty much unaffected by that because I don't really do collectibles because if I start, it's gonna get crazy. My wife is gonna leave me, and I'll have no money. So.
What about the rest, though? What about the books? Like, what do you think is gonna happen with the books?
So the books, what we do know, at least what's been confirmed since the layoffs, because they laid off about 20% of their staff at the start of last week. They're still making comics. They're still in the business of making comics. They're going to be printing less comics. That means less paper monthlies. You're going to see a lot more digital, and they've said as much. You're going to see more digital. You're going to see more straight to trade. You're going to see more them appeal to more foreign markets. But yeah, they're doing a lot of digital first stuff like the Harley Quinn red and black, or is it red and white? It's red and a different color.
Mm-hmm. Red, white, and black, I think.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So more foreign markets. That means we're probably not going to see a Taiwanese or Hong Kongian superhero anytime soon.
Well, they remember at the start of DC Rebirth, they did that new Superman, and it was like it was the Chinese Superman.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Very
nice.
Cool.
Didn't stick around, but they had it.
Chinese Superman. What would that look like?
He'd be.
Name was like Keenan Collins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is he super communist or?
I don't think he is like Captain America, but for like the People's Republic. But I think he. It was written by Gene Luen Yang, who did Superman Smashes the Klan. Cool. Yeah, it was all right. I think that's what you're going to see on the comic side. Of things. Yeah.
Not all bad. I think DC was double shipping for a while, which I think pissed everybody off. So, yeah, especially the LCSs. And
do you read much DC, Todd?
Usually, if I'm going to read the big two, I read DC. I read. I've been reading all the Greg Capullo, Scott Snyder stuff. Dark Knight's Metal. Last Night on Earth.
Nice.
That stuff that's really presses my button, So
Yeah.
I kind of have to dig into that. I really dig Mitch Jared's, his Mr. Miracle, and now he's doing Strange Adventures. So I've got Strange Adventures 1, 2, 3, but I haven't read 2 and 3. And then there's Aaron Campbell's doing the Hellblazer book for DC Black.
Nice.
And that's a sweet, sweet book, especially if you liked his book from his horror book from Image.
Hellblazer. Is that the one that just got canceled? They're done?
It ends with issue 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
They
there's
didn't
a lot of mixed feeling. That wasn't a planned cancel, was it? It wasn't like the end of the series.
It's not. I mean, they indicated they had plans for more. I think they're wrapping it at 12, just like they're wrapping in November. In October, you're going to see the end of Batgirl. In November, you're going to see the end of Teen Titans. Suicide Squad, which according to Tom Taylor was an intended end. And some other titles are coming to a close. Hawkman, everybody's favorite. Hawkman,
the lead for DC, the main character. Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Hawkman.
Hey, that's Joshua Dizart's title, right? No. Not just Dizart. Sorry. It's what's his name? Venditti. Venditti's writing that, right?
Venditti has been writing Hawkman since like Go.
I get my former Valiant people confused with each other. So, yeah.
How could you? How could you?
I don't know. I'm a fake fan. I'm a
poser.
Sure. Yeah.
This is kind of a tangent. Have all you guys read? I haven't read any of the Sirens and Bombshells, so I went back and read some of those, and they're really fucking great. Have you guys read any of those? Yeah, like they're so fun, and like the outfits and stuff. Like I'm writing down all these cosplays that I want to do, and it's just like really great. Like anyone that hasn't read it, go read it.
Sirens and Bombshells. Who writes it? Do you know?
So they're DC titles, yeah. I can't remember who writes each one.
Marguerite Bennett, I think, wrote a volume of Bombshells.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Check it out.
So speaking of, I wrongfully brought up Joshua Dizart earlier, but that's because he's been on my mind for 2 reasons. One reason is that next news item. He's an awesome guy, but there's a Harbinger movie coming out in 2021. Hopefully, they take it in a kind of different direction than they took Bloodshot. But I'm very excited for that. I think the world needs Harbinger, and I'm excited for everyone I know who doesn't even read Valiant comics to kind of be introduced to these characters. Everyone's gonna love Toyo Harada. Everyone. He's gonna be everybody's favorite.
If they do him right. Wait, Sam, you laughed.
I did, didn't I?
Why?
So funny.
Why?
Why are we singling me out? Why don't we just come?
I want to hear opinions here, because I if you have a differing opinion, if you laugh, whatever.
Sam likes Valiant, I think.
Now, why did you laugh at? Do you not like Toyo Harada?
I think. Look, man, the only thing I have to go on based on what Valiant has done cinematically is Bloodshot.
Yes, there you go.
Well, imagine if you judged the Marvel Cinematic Universe based on Hulk.
Iron Man? If I based it on Iron Man, I would be pretty spot on. If I based the extended universe on Man of Steel, for better or worse, I would be pretty spot on too.
Okay, well, you never know, man.
Yeah.
You never know.
Hold on to hope. Gotta have hope.
The other reason Joshua Dizart's been on my mind is because I was talking to him this morning because he's going to be on our show on Wednesday. So super, super unbelievably stoked for that. He was part of the first school of post 2012 Valiant doing the Harbinger series, and then he wrote Imperium and the Life and Times of Toyo Harada, and now he's working on a bunch of other really cool, awesome stuff. So we're stoked for that. Anyway, Todd, do you read it? Are you into Valiant at all, or?
I tried to get into that reboot that happened, and I got all those issues because the art looked phenomenal. Exo Manowar was incredible,
yeah.
but beyond those first issues, I never really was able to keep up with it. It's just kind of a lot with all the other stuff, that you read, and those guys really love those characters, that universe. The people that produce that stuff, they got a hell of a page rate too. you know. So
Yeah,
so I mean, I think that shows in the product for sure.
for sure. It's exciting. And what's his name? Dinesh Shamdasani. He's like he basically bought Valiant in 2012 and decided to bring it back. It had been gone. I mean, I think there was an acclaimed series, and then before that, it was Valiant Comics in the 90s. With, it was cool, but it also kind of exemplified the craziest thing about 90s comics. It was like way off the wall. But he brought it back in 2012, and it was a good product. I mean, it's good. They're good comic books. But what was it? DMG? I want to say DMG bought Valiant, and I think the first thing they did was drive away Dinesh Shamdasani. So now he's working on this other project called Bad Idea, and I know almost nothing about it. I've researched the hell out of it, and I still know almost nothing about it. Something about a button. It's like a very secretive project. Yeah.
Well, Maui Comics is the official retailer of Bad Idea Comics here in Hawaii.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to ship it to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go to their website and you put in, all your info, and they'll forward it to Maui Comics, and then you subscribe through them. But their model is all emphasizes you can't get it anywhere else. Yeah, you can't get it anywhere else. So they're gonna have a small rollout. I think it's like 50 shops at first, and they're only gonna have one book. And I don't know. I'm not very familiar with what book or what title is going to be coming out first, and I don't even actually. I'm subscribed to it, but I'm not, and I'm excited about it, but I'm not sure about the format either. Like whether it's going to be oversized or trade paperback or what.
Let me ask you a question. This is kind of controversial. I'm gonna open this up to the whole panel, and I don't have an opinion on it. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I really just want to kind of work through it with you guys. So I like LCSs. I love LCSs. I love my LCS, and I want LCSs to be successful. But do you think that in maybe some way, trying to keep the LCS alive is kind of like trying to keep the coal industry alive? Like, do you think that at a certain point it's just no? Okay.
No.
Well, let's.
There's always a place for print and tactile media. It just might not be as we have become accustomed to it.
But if it's not generating enough revenue, that place might be Barnes and Noble. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody wants. What'd you say, Sam?
Look at Barnes and Noble. Barnes and Noble isn't opening up any more locations anytime soon either. They're going the way of orders.
But I think it has to do like what the negative effect, like the direction of the negative effect. Like LCSs trying to stay open is going to negatively affect in the long run the owners of LCSs, not the comic book industry, right? And so as long as they can, as long as they're willing to take losses or break even, hopefully, awesome. Unlike the coal industry, that's that's fucking up the renewable energy, type stuff, and the planet, little things like that.
So it's a crude analogy.
No. I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying it's an exact analogy. I understand. What I'm saying is that I don't think there's any harm. The bottom line is I don't think there's any harm in LCSs trying to be open, unless there is. Is there a con to having them stay open?
No, I mean, and I think what we're going to see from LCSs in the future, because I want them to survive too, obviously. Like that's, I remember walking into a comic book shop and picking up Superman number 75, The Death of Superman. That was the first comic book I ever owned.
Yeah.
I remember off Berkshire Parkway, but I think we're going to see them become more of a niche.
Mm-hmm.
And we're already seeing them draw in other, we were talking about collectibles earlier. How many comic book stores have
games.
So much space just dedicated to games, Funko Pops, figures?
Yeah. When you walk into an LCS and you open the door and the light comes in this dimly lit room and you see you just interrupted a very intense tabletop game and everyone looks up the fuck are you doing in here?
I'm tapping mana here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's it. My first ever MTG match was in my first ever MTG match was in an LCS on the Gold Coast, and I feel like most people would have had that experience where they've played a game for the first time at an LCS or found their nerddom at an LCS. That's why they're so important, because you've got all those people there
Well,
that are finding the cool shit.
I tell you what, Ace McG says, my LCS is why I'm reading comics again. I wouldn't read 90% of what I'm reading now without them. It's how I've gained a positive community, and I literally am alive thanks to friends that's awesome. Yeah, and that's
awesome.
That's awesome. It's like there is other intangible. It's not just about profits and gains and all this stuff. It's like there's an intangible community to it, to where that is the con. Even if it doesn't create profits, when that community goes and all we have is Twitter because we get everything off of Comixology or whatever, there's gonna be
sad.
There's gonna be a tangible change in the comic book industry when that happens.
And the fandom itself.
I think that for here on Maui, I lived without a local comic book shop for a while when I first moved here, and it was miserable.
Yeah.
I couldn't get any comics. I was ordering them piecemeal from certain places, and you put in the order, to the mainland, and you don't know if you're going to get it. Because they've got all those other subscribers too that they're looking at. So they would be like, sorry, we're going to have to hit you on the reorder. And then I'd have to try to find it at a different place. And then, what I ended up doing was just waiting until the trades came out. So that I was into Saga, and then I could only get the trades for the longest time from like Amazon or from that's what the shop had, if you wanted, 14 and 15, get that next volume kind of thing. So I think that it was such a bummer without the local comic book shop that now that we have one, I try to celebrate it every day.
Oh yeah.
It's like it really is kind of like almost a religious experience for some people going into one and discovering people that are interested in the same stuff that you're interested in, because you sort of enjoy the stuff online with people, and it seems like you're sort of reading is. It's an isolated thing to do. You can do it anywhere. You don't necessarily read it and perform it to your friends, kind of thing. So, I think that that's part of the appeal. That's part of the purpose of a local LCS. I don't foresee them going away, because as long as you've got that community, you've got that, you've got that audience. You've got those customers.
That's right.
Do you think it'll ever not have to fight for its existence?
Well, I think that it's a problem. I mean, it's tough because Diamond doesn't make it easy, and now, especially with the new distribution like Lunar and LCS, you can't, especially shipping to Hawaii, that's not cheap. So now whatever discounts they were getting with Diamond out here, those LCSs are not getting those discounts anymore when they're buying those DC books. So they have to be a little bit more judicious about what they're going to order, because
it's going to hurt the indie creator.
Well, I mean, out here, we have a pretty good community of independent comic creators, and we all sort of take care of each other, and the local comic book stores take care of us. So I think that we have some pretty good support from them. But you're right, there are some people that are really just now focusing on Marvel comics, and that's all they're going to sell, and then they're just like no room, there's no margin anymore to sell your stuff even on consignment sometimes. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But yeah, I think that distribution is not helping the local comic book stores. And I think that if comic book, because it seems like the publishers, they want those brick and mortar stores to exist. They love those people. So, there's something about the way that the publisher needs to make money, the distributor needs to make money.
Symbiotic.
And they also have to take care of that local comic book store too, because if they don't have that outlet, then all those two other things go away. So, those two people got to start joining forces, talking to each other, and sort of trying to figure out how to preserve their outlets, their retail outlets.
Absolutely.
Man, I hope so. So before I go into this next, Robo, did you have something?
I was gonna say, Lady Fantastic is in the chat. Welcome. She's I know her from Not Near Mint. I think she has her own YouTube channel.
Cool.
Just welcome.
Hello, Lady Fantastic.
Welcome.
Yeah. So we have another news item, but before I talk about it, so just I know that Sam knows. Sam, is it Lemire or Lemire?
Lemire.
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 Lemire. So neither of the ones that I said. Okay, Jeff Lemire. So Sweet Tooth, The Return reimagines a post-apocalyptic world. Okay, so yeah, we got Jeff Lemire Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire teaming up with Jose Villarrubia, or Villarrubia, to reimagine the world of Sweet Tooth, for a new DC Black Label miniseries. This looks cool. I haven't read any Sweet Tooth. What is? Have you guys read that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me
It's
about
awesome, man.
Is it?
Give it.
You have not?
I'm surprisingly, I've read so much of his shit, and I love him as a creator, and I have not read this series. I've only heard good things about it.
I'm really surprised.
Well, give me
you
the
haven't read
pitch.
3 collectible deluxe volumes. You don't be intimidated by it. There's only 3.
Okay.
Please.
What were you gonna say, Todd?
It's awesome. I read the first volume recently. I've known Jeff for a little while, and I got to see him again in Colorado, and I bought a book that was already signed by him.
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, I went to get, and I didn't know. I went to get it signed, and he was like, all right, man, well, I'll give you a sketch. And so he did a sketch of Sweet Tooth real fast for me, and it's super awesome book. It's I don't know, like it was the thing that he won the Xeric Award for when he first sort of broke in, and the Xeric Award was something that was started by Peter Laird for independent comic book artists. You could apply for a grant, and then that would cover the cost of setting up your website and printing all your comics and distributing and everything, and then hopefully you make money from there, and then. But it was such a good story that DC ended up picking it up and putting it out through Vertigo. So that's kind of the publishing history of it, and it's sort of a road story. Like there's these kids that are born with horns, and you're trying to solve that mystery. And
so there's a lot of horny kids in this.
There's a lot of horny kids in this. There's a lot of and
there's the soundbite.
and then so I mean it's just I don't know, man. It's really like the artwork's fantastic, but the story really hits you in the feels,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's really good at that. I feel like he's really good at creating characters that you instantly fall in love with, and then kind of like putting them through the grinder so that you want to cry.
It's kind of like McCormick McCarthy's like The Road. It's very much like a survivalist story.
Mm-hmm.
But it, like Todd was saying, it's an emotional roller coaster. It's maybe, it's either that or Essex County is like the most emotional thing he's ever written, right? It's super gnarly. But
I dig Ascender and Descender. Those are really cool. They're also emotionally what is it? Poignant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, even his Frankenstein book with DC was like an emotional like book at times, and it was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, am I getting like emotional over Frankenstein and the Agents of Shade?
Yeah. It's got a really good connection to the film.
I was introduced.
I don't know what it is.
My first encounter with Lemire's work was Moon Knight, and I really liked that. That was a good Moon Knight run. Moon Knight's such a great character because it's like it's a fringe. Up until recently, it's a fringe character within Marvel. So I feel like editorial just lets every creator run with it. So you get so many different, interesting interpretations of Moon Knight. But he really did a good job with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So I will add that to the to be read list.
Also,
James Gunn.
He did a DC Black Label book with Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz. It was like a 4-issue miniseries. Yeah, they just finished it, so check that out. It's pretty good too.
Sweet.
Oh.
I saw it at the shop. I'll have to grab that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he also do a Joker-related book too?
He's done a couple. He did Joker, Killer Smile. He's done like DC Black Label has kind of been his bread and butter, and I kind of hope they keep that imprint around with all the changes that are happening. because like Todd was saying with like Last Night on Earth and everything, like there's a lot of really great fucking books.
All they had to do was not get rid of what's it called, Vertigo. Like, why did they have to get rid of Vertigo just to recreate Vertigo and call it Black Label?
Right.
That's a whole thing. I mean, Vertigo will always have I have all the fucking Sandman.
Dude, Vertigo has some of my favorite comics of all time. Did you ever read that Viking series, Northlanders?
Northlanders.
Holy shit.
Yeah. DMZ is another great Brian Wood Vertigo book. There's a lot of Vertigo books. Yeah, I don't know why they rebranded it. They did it. That was at a period where DC was doing a lot of. They had put out DC Inc., DC Zoom, DC Comics, the main line, and then DC Black Label was like their big mature line.
Throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
And now I think we might see more corporate synergy and it just everything become a DC comic book. I can see that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just throw in before you move to the next one while we're still kind of on Lemire? Gideon Falls, if everyone hasn't read that, you need to. It's one of the best series I've ever read, and the art is like out of this world. It's by Andrea Sorrentino, who did some Old Man Logan with and some Secret Empire and some Green Arrow, and the art is like legit one of the most amazing. It's exactly what sounded delicious.
Did you guys? I mean, he did this book called Sentient with TKO. Have you guys read that?
No.
I've seen it at the store and been very intrigued. I think I'm probably gonna pick it up next time.
It's awesome. I mean, it's about like the world is the Earth is kind of dying and people are leaving because they found a place to colonize that's Earth-like, and it's going to take like 3 years to get there or something. And it's about this ship that's going out there, and they've got an artificial intelligence that kind of runs the whole ship. And there's a political unrest, and so they're trying to figure out if they're going to bring, that's the Earth governments that have kind of created the apocalypse, ruined the Earth, or if they're going to try to start a new government, So there's this sort of revolution that's happening on the colony, and so the crew of the ship is split between there's one revolutionary and then there's like the rest of the normal people, and all the they're bringing their families, and all the adults wipe each other out. And so then the artificial intelligence is left with raising the kids.
Interesting. Is it Are there two robots that fall in love and then zip around in space together? Is it like
no? I mean, I haven't read the full series yet, so I can't say no. But but the first issue was amazing, so you guys should definitely. I mean, if you can, you check it out.
That does sound dope. That does sound dope. What you described reminds me heavily of WALL-E. Also, being home on quarantine reminds me of WALL-E because I find I've never been this sedentary. I literally I had to go to the bathroom the other day and I put it off because it was like 7 feet away and it just seemed like too much work.
I can hold it. I can hold it. Yeah.
So James Gunn, who I think is a pretty cool director. I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy. And he's got a lot of other cool stuff coming. He's got like a Suicide Squad movie and then another Guardians of the Galaxy. He just revealed his 5 favorite X-Men, which he might be one of the deciders on which X-Men are part of the MCU. But his 5 favorite X-Men are Wolverine, Phantom X, Storm, Kitty Pryde, and Dupe.
Everybody loves Dupe.
Everybody loves. Yeah, I guess everybody does love Dupe.
That's a Mike Allred joint right there.
Was that Jason Aaron who came up with Dupe, or?
Well, it was Mike Allred for X-Static, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, okay. I remember the first time I saw him was on Wolverine and the X-Men. Jason Aaron.
Oh, he's there, and he Jason Aaron retcons it that he fucks all the time.
Yeah, he's like a party animal, constantly fucking and doing drugs.
Yeah, he's like this sexual jelly bean man. It's great, but
sexual jelly bean. That's gonna have to be my screen name soon.
Sexual jelly bean.
Yeah. Cool. And then Wolverine. I think Wolverine's a solid choice in general, just because I'll never not like Wolverine. I don't care how many people like say like, oh, everybody likes Wolverine. Everybody likes him for a reason.
There's a reason,
Batman.
right?
What is everybody's favorite Wolverine story?
Ooh, I would have to go with Enemy of the State.
Mine isn't really a Wolverine story. It's just kind of with Wendigo and Spider-Man that McFarlane did. I like that. Nostalgia.
What is your favorite?
Does Old Man Logan count?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love that series so much.
God damn.
Nice.
So fun.
When he fucking busts out of Old Man Hulk. So dope. So dope.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that Sam's takes place when he had no adamantium following Fatal Attractions. No.
No. When he has no nose either, they drew him without a nose for like.
Yeah, they turned him into like a monster.
Voldemort.
Well, what is
No,
it? You guys?
My favorite's Weapon X.
Ooh.
Oh, that is
Classic.
with Barry Windsor Smith. That's a book where when I read it, I heard it. You know what I mean? Like it's got like I feel like the soundtrack to that comic book is very similar to the soundtrack of Ridley Scott's first Aliens movie. It was just like bloop, 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 like
It's an 80s horror movie where the slasher is Wolverine. It's great. I love it.
Oh yeah.
it is.
Oh yeah.
What about you, Todd?
What's your favorite?
I liked Schnicked.
Schnicked.
Was it like Pikachu Mini or something?
Yeah, it was like really beautiful watercolor art, and I really dug the story. So I liked the way that he seemed like the hair was just perfect, the way that he was able to paint it. So I can't remember who painted it though, but it was pretty sweet.
Was it like
It's
David
super-
Black or something?
It was. I think it was an artist from Japan. I think it was like a mangaka.
Oh, so it was like kind of like that watercolor, like Japanese style.
Yeah.
I feel like I've read that too. That's familiar to me.
Yeah.
Wolverine in that style. It's trendy to hate Mark Millar now because everybody just hates Mark Millar for some reason. I don't know. I feel like I can't bring up Mark Millar without 5 people being like, nah, but I fucking love Mark Millar, and
I like him too. I know I get the hate, but I also like him too. So.
He wrote a story. It was a one-shot, and it was like Wolverine during the Holocaust at Auschwitz, and he's like the guards can't kill him. They keep trying to kill him, and they just can't kill him. And then like one of the Nazi guards just ends up blowing his own brains out because he's like so frustrated that he can't kill Wolverine. But it's just so awesome.
Judah, what's your favorite X-Men?
Who's my favorite X-Men?
Yeah.
It just has to be Emma Frost, and it's like no matter how much X-Men I read, and here's how I gauge it, because if I try to sit down and
I
intellectualize
didn't say who you want to bang. I said who's your favorite.
sometimes the two walk hand in hand, but I'll say this: when I'm reading X-Men comics and Emma Frost shows up, I just automatically get excited, and it's not just because I want to trounce that perfect blonde.
I've never
ass, but
I've never seen that move to simulate sex. Like I want to right? You know what I'm saying? You want to fight her? What the fuck is going on?
I would never want to fight
I
her.
know.
Destroy me. She would literally make me
Melt
forget
your
how to
brain.
talk.
Yeah.
She would just take out a part of my brain, and I would live a miserable rest of my life. I would definitely want to piss her off. But like in the new Jonathan Hickman run, I think it was House of X, Powers of X, when she shows up to like the UN, she's just all boss. Like I'm just reading like, oh.
She's definitely boss.
Yeah.
What about you, Rhea? I know you're the indie master, but what's your
Who's my
favorite?
X-Men? I love X-23. I love Laura. I think she's great.
That's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joyce.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't know if I can go past her, to be honest. I like Rogue as well, though. There's
Yeah.
something
I had-
about Rogue that's like inherently tragic, which I enjoy.
I had that NYX number 3, and somebody put their drink on it, and so it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I was reading it. Somebody put their drink on it, and it was over at my sister's house. And so my sister went and bought another issue of it because she was reading it and she liked it. So she's got it, and I don't. I have the ruined copy.
Oh,
still.
that's rough.
Yeah.
So
Their cover's
I love
falling off.
There's a lot of good runs. There's like a Mariko Tamaki run. There's a Marjorie Liu run. I think my favorite is always going to be the Kyle Yost run. The kind of gets into her origin story with Innocence
You
Lost.
put me onto that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Did it make you cry? It almost made me cry.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. And then because I'm just a whore on Twitter, I hit up Christopher Yost and I was like, hey, or no, it was Craig Kyle. I was like, hey, so are you ever gonna write X-23 again? Like, do you miss her? And he was like, she's like one of my. I love her like she's my first child, and I'll never stop loving her. But I do have a story with her in mind that I'll write someday if I ever get back to the title.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a 6-issue thing called Innocence Found, and it's gonna be like kind of a coda of his trilogy because he had I think it was 2006 was his first miniseries that was her at the Weapon X facility, and then the second mini was like shortly thereafter, and it was also very powerful. So this is going to be like the coda or third installment of a trilogy that he has in the back of his mouth.
That's dope.
Not really news, but who knows,
Yeah.
No, that's exciting. Looking at the chat too, Ace says Jubilee is my fave. Laura Kinney is my favorite mutant, says Aramis. Ace, you have impeccable taste, says Glynis. All New Wolverine is someone's favorite. Yeah,
Oh,
Duke
nice.
needs a standalone movie.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Ainsley says I would let Emma slap the bejesus out of me. Just saying.
Ooh, damn, that's hot.
In Dynasty, it was.
I'd let Rogue slap me. That would be.
Yeah.
That'd be
I'd
something
probably
else.
never come back from it.
That'd be something.
And then she'd
else.
grow a beard. She'd like grow a beard.
That's the power.
Where all my power lives.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
cool.
dope. What do we got
And
next?
I would still be attracted to her after that too. Just, yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Rogue.
Oh, yeah.
It's Rogue. Yeah.
Bearded Rogue.
Fucking
Love
dope.
it.
That sounds like a sex move. Like I gave her the old bearded
Bearded
rogue.
rogue.
You know?
I'll let her take me for a mustache ride.
This went off the rails. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Comic publisher, go.
Oh, okay. So this is me changing the subject. Business of independent. That's my changing the subject voice.
Nice.
Business of independent comic book publishing launches on Kickstarter. Okay, Kickstarter, sorry. So this person who I had never heard of, Gamal Hennessy, is writing this book on how to self-publish and crowdfund. And I think I'm actually going to get it because that's something I'm interested in. But it's basically going to demystify, and I'm reading this, by the way, the process of transforming ideas into finished comic books and how to sell them. So, Todd, you like already, this is already like your bread and butter right here because this is what you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's good to have it. I've got a book that was similarly put out by
Just say it's by you.
Devil's Due, actually, and it's how to self-publish comics, not just create them. There's a lot of different manuals out there, and I think that this was also kickstarted. So and I've got several of them. And I'd be interested in this one too. Everybody goes through that process, and everybody's got different tips.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like I'm already kind of elbow deep in it,
Yeah.
So I read this book, and then I was like, I already did like 6 out of 8 of those things, kind of thing,
Nice.
So and those are things that it's you can do it yourself if you're really driven to do it yourself. You're just gonna make a couple more mistakes along the way.
It sounds like we need a book by Todd Bernardy.
My wife has been trying to get me to write one, and I'm like, I've got to draw comics.
Yeah,
first.
that's not fun.
Can I finish the comics?
Yeah.
Behind the beard.
Yeah.
The Todd Bernardy story. Yeah. I'm just. It's. I think that's the future. I think so. Like we had a first look. I wasn't there because I was doing my real job. Or excuse me, I was doing my side gig. This is my real job. But I had I was busy, so Robo and Ree interviewed someone who was doing basically started their own publishing company.
Oh yeah.
From the ground up. They're
21.
actually at the age of 21. Yeah.
Matthew Werner. He does I guess it's called MW Entertainment, and he started an imprint called We Are Legion. And so it's a part of we have a new playlist that's really just for Kickstarters, like brand new people breaking in. And so it should be people you've never heard of because they're brand new. And
Kick Boost.
Yeah, it's called the Kick Boost. And so I'm expecting, like, you know, I see him. He's clearly a young dude. Like, all right, so he's trying to push out some stuff. It's his new idea. This dude has like 100 creators on the wiki. Has like a published comic. I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
At that age, I was sorting all the porn videos on my hard drive into different folders by category.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work.
It does.
You should have waited till we had a shutdown for COVID to do all that stuff.
True.
Right.
I mean, we should have waited for a quarantine to do that useless other stuff and organize it.
Yeah.
The thing is, for me, the useless other stuff never ends. That's just my stuff. That's just
I want to be able to find it when I'm looking for it. I need to know where it is.
You gotta know where it is. When you're in the mood, you're in the mood. I think this is the future of comics.
Oh yeah, I thought we were still talking about comics. That's what I thought we were talking about.
So yeah, I mean we're seeing big publishers hurting, and I'm rooting for the big publishers, but I don't think this is a good time for Johnny Comic Maker to try to market himself to a big publisher. I think this is the best time for Johnny Comic Maker to start trying to self-publish, start a Kickstarter.
It's tough too. You know, I'm friends with people that have tried to self-publish through and self-finance through Kickstarter that haven't been able to get it going because you could argue there's no good time, but I don't know. It feels like it's just like you were saying, the big market stuff is hurting too, and when they hurt everything, it's the same tide. Everyone rises and falls by the same tide, and so you know, I love indie books. You know, I have. You know, I got started in this industry, however tangentially that may be, with Image, which was like a big place where everybody gets to keep their IP, like they get to own their IP. You know, such a radical idea, you know, 25 years ago. But yeah, no, I love indie books, and I don't know. I feel like the entire industry. You know, I hope once we get over this hump, everything, the floodgates open, all this stuff that when people are like cooped up, they're just like, well, I guess I'll write this comic now, or I'll draw this comic now. And I hope as soon as we get to the other side, we start to see the fruit of all that.
Mm-hmm.
We need more Images. I love Image as a publisher. I have a lot of respect for them. Actually, we're interviewing Matt Hawkins in like a week. Who's like an old school
Pop cow, right on.
Yeah, old school Image guy, and he's doing a book right now with Colleen Doran. So I'm very excited to talk to him about that. But anyway. Image is great because people really achieve their dreams. There's so many people we've talked to where like that was their way into comics, and Image just let them roll with what they wanted to do and really help. They stick to their values. They're not speaking out of two sides of their mouth. Like there are Image values that Image sticks to. I think it's really cool. Heavy Metal is launching their own kind of imprint that's going to publish creator-owned comics. And you know, we talked to Kevin Eastman about it a little bit. It's not He's not as involved now as he might have been like a few years ago, but he still kind of has his ear to the ground there. And he was saying it's going to be a similar model to Image where people are going to be basically they're going to have to fund their own products or projects possibly, but they're going to have full creative control and they'll get all the distribution and be able to actually tell their story the way they want to tell it. So it's cool.
You know, we were talking about Vertigo earlier. I like what, you know, Karen Berger spearheaded that at DC in the early 90s. And now she has her own imprint with her own publishing imprint with Dark Horse, Berger Books. So you're starting to, I think that's like Dark Horse's answer to both Image and, because I think Dark Horse started to realize they couldn't live on licensed titles anymore because they lost Star Wars to Marvel. They just lost Alien and Predator to Marvel. They just lost Buffy to
What else? Next they're going to lose is Hellboy, and then it's all game over for them.
Well, I think Mike Mignola helps keep the lights on at Dark Horse. If they ever lost Hellboy, I think it would be a dark day for Dark Horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I hope that I love Hellboy. Hellboy is like one dude's vision for like decades now.
And it's so cross genre too. It's just like whatever he wants to tell, whatever story he wants to tell, he tells that story. It doesn't really always have to sit in a certain certain wheelhouse, I guess.
Yeah, there's no Hellboy formula. I love it.
Yeah.
Going back to that young man we were talking about that started off his own deal, one thing we did leave out is that it took him 4 years to get to. So he started when he was 17. Now he's 21. So don't be disheartened if you want to create shit. It takes time, and lots of people are going to say no to you. How many people said no to JK before she published Harry Potter? 20, 30? Some bullshit.
Yeah. And now
she's the richest author in the fucking world.
Yeah. And she hates trans people apparently. But so
she just doesn't think that they're feminist. I don't think that she hates them, but they hate her. That's for sure.
They do hate her. Yeah. So Nia DaCosta, she's directing the sequel to Captain Marvel, and I'm excited to see it. Yeah. Because
it's gonna be good.
I think it's gonna be cool.
I hear great things about her Candyman. So.
I can't believe she's doing that. That's awesome. Oh, what's up, kitty cat?
Candyman.
Yeah.
Candyman.
Rhea, I'm in a room with a mirror. I need you to stop. No, I'm by myself here. I live alone.
Oh, yeah. Candyman.
But
Candyman.
So the headline is that Nia DaCosta's sequel marks a new era for comic book movies. DaCosta's reported new gig comes after Gina Prince Bythewood helmed The Old Guard and Ava DuVernay began work on New Gods. Candy director is coming to Marvel. So I think the point of this article here is female writers of color are
more of that.
Are kind of filling these ranks up, which is a good thing and good for representation. I wonder if that means that Monica Rambeau is going to achieve her her destiny as Captain Marvel's Spectrum / Photon / whatever.
She'll open WandaVision first.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that's supposed to happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've just been on hold so long. I'm worried. I hope the momentum hasn't died as far as like fandom.
Yeah, we were supposed to have another MCU movie by now, right? It was supposed to. It would have been out on home video by now. You would have been able to stream it on Vudu. It would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the pause is good. Maybe people were getting fatigued, and maybe this will be like a fresh start for these movies. Who knows?
Are you going to pay $30 for Mulan?
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
I love Mulan.
I do too. I just think it's. I know it's going back and forth. I've gone back and forth with some people on Twitter, and one of the common things that I've heard is how much would you already be spending when you go to the theater? That doesn't mean anything to me though. That's like if I get something on pay-per-view and my homies come over and I make everybody pay $50 and I go, well, how much would you be paying if you went to Buffalo Wild Wings? I'm like, that's still a shit thing because I'm not Buffalo Wild Wings. So you don't have to pay anybody. There's no staff. There's no lease on the building. And it's like, you're still going to make me pay $30? I think it's kind of garbage. Especially when the first movies that came out was $20. But go ahead.
Here's the thing.
But at least if you pull a Pee Wee Herman, you won't get arrested though, which is good.
It'll cost me $13.50 if I went to see it at the movie theater that's a block away from my apartment. Maybe a little more if I decided to get like a artillery shell size like Dr. Pepper.
Right.
That's it. For $30, like the fucking chair better give me a handy while I'm at it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let you disagree real quick, Reed, but I'll tell you this much. That's actually a really good point, Sam, because people love to to create this person like. I mean, if you and your 6 kids and all your cousins would go to the theater and that pays $72 a ticket, you're going to be paying more. I'm like, right, but that's not the story for everyone. Yeah.
Right.
Go, Ree.
I don't know.
All right, here's my argument, and I'm happy to be told that I'm wrong or disproved or any of that.
Or a sucker, maybe a sucker.
Yeah, or a sucker. But one thing that COVID has all shown us, right, is that artists are undervalued. And movies take a fuck ton of people to make them, and especially ones like that. It's just like hundreds and thousands of people involved. I would rather pay $30 and keep seeing production value like that happen than not pay it and see it disappear.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm an ass.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Next. No,
there we go.
Now I feel really bad for my opinion. So
I still don't because again. When you look at the tickets of what's being bought, Sam by himself is going to buy one ticket. He goes in. Now who gets a cut of that? The building gets a cut of that. All these people get a cut, and then some goes to the industry. And the industry, even in that world, is still creating movie stars that are worth millions and millions of dollars. So now I'm supposed to, and I do. I think we should put more money to the arts. I'm a fan of the arts. I totally understand that. But you're telling, so then I'm gonna go. Well, now that I'm not giving all the middlemen their money, then the individual who makes $5 million off a movie now makes $15 million off a movie. I don't like who.
Right.
And I guarantee you.
And
I tell you this much, I would agree with you 100% if I saw a headline tomorrow that said Warner Brothers is now paying their actors 3 times as much because they made 3 times as much money, which I fucking
it's like
doubt.
bloody Keanu giving all his salary to the CGI effects artist for The Matrix, right? It's like that's where the money should be going, is the people that are making them look that good, but it never ends up that way.
No.
It always ends up millions in the
Executives and shit.
headliners' lap.
And then-
Yep.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Don't look
that's
behind the
that's
curtain." Yeah, sorry, you were gonna say.
Somebody talk.
No, I was like that's sort of my opinion too. Is that these guys, the special effects artists, have already been paid for that. They're gonna, if they're decent and talented, they're gonna be getting work, no matter what. And I would like to see less Disney content and more independent content out there.
Yeah, that's 100%. I'm with you on that. When you think about, I say this all the time, 10 made top 10 movies of last year, 8 of them were Disney.
Yeah.
How terrifying is that?
It's
Because you've got one company controlling all your entertainment output.
Yeah. So I'm not saying, like, I would like to, if it wasn't a Disney movie, I would consider paying $30 for it. So if it's something that I really, really wanted to see. But I'm not a fan of the franchise. I'm not a huge fan of the company. So that's sort of how I decide to spend my money. But like, I'm not saying that I wouldn't spend $30 on a good movie. But I probably wouldn't spend $30
Give it to Disney.
Well, on top of also having to be subscription, yeah. You just have to.
It's crazy.
It's a $13 subscription if you got Hulu, and then you get ESPN for $0.01, and then you have to pay $30 on top of that, and then you own it, kind of.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That
Kind
would
of.
Subscription, and then it goes away.
Yeah. I mean, unless they
some
give me a
abstract
link
sense.
to download, like, here's your Dropbox links for the MP4, then I'd be like, all right, we're good.
Ace
They're
McGee.
never going to go.
Ace McGee-
They are never going to.
Yeah. You're right.
So Ace McGee says, "I'm paying for Mulan because I don't want Disney to give up on POC representation, and if my $30 can help with that, then I'm doing it." And then I know Disney sucks, but if they're going to exist and be that influential, then I want to help change the market for the better in terms of representation. Absolutely.
Look, we live in a capitalist society, and the bottom line is always going to be it. And you're right. If everyone, that's actually a really good point. If everyone was just like,
I'm gonna blame.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame the wrong.
Well, I
things.
mean, well,
If they
think about it
charge
this way.
$30 for a movie.
you have the executives that are gonna make the decisions. If Mulan comes out and everybody does the I'm not gonna pay $30 like Robo Strange, then that didn't make any money. We're not doing that again. We're gonna go back to So maybe it's a good point.
Yeah.
I not to be political or anything, but and I haven't read anything. But the lady that did play Mulan, I don't know her name. She was pretty critical of the Hong Kong protests.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's but I don't know if that was, and I don't even know if that was a calculated move on her part, because like if you're gonna open a Disney movie in China, Mulan is going to be the one that does like the biggest box office numbers.
That's right.
So I think that it could have even just been like, I can't alienate a billion Chinese potential customers.
I have strong feelings about that, and if I unleash them, then I'm gonna get up on a soapbox and ruin this entire live stream.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep it to myself for now, but yes, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was already some boycotts announced as soon as those comments went public, and this was before this movie got delayed. Before COVID hit the States and all that.
I remember that. Wow.
It takes all of our country of consumers to put their foot down when it comes to that, because just a few people doesn't compete with the entire nation of China as far as revenue goes.
Right. I was going to go see the movie in the theater. I had no idea, but like I asked my daughter, I was like, "What's your favorite Disney movie?" And this is like 3 months before I even knew about the live action Mulan, and she was like, "Mulan." And I was like, I didn't even know you saw that.
That's
When did you see that?
How
And
old
she
is
was like, 9, 6.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
So
success.
So I bought her the Mulan doll, and then I heard about the actress and her
They
comments.
took it away
about,
like we're boycotting. No,
democracy, and I was like, oh no.
So
I
you
should
guys want
have
to
gotten
hear?
the cartoon one. I shouldn't have gotten the live action.
There you
doll.
go.
Right. You're the worst dad ever.
I know. I know.
So this is weird. This is weird comic book news. Let's see the reacts on this. So Fortnite comic books are inbound, but not in the way you think. And that's the headline that I just kind of said like it was my own personal thing.
No, that was you. Yeah, that's
Very
good.
quick.
Yeah.
So check it out. The very strong rumor that we've gotten from data miners is that there will be digital Fortnite comic books, but they're only going to exist within the game, making them accessible to players using a built-in comics reader. What a
Yeah.
crazy idea.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the future? The future is now. That's a crazy idea. What do you guys think about that?
Did you know they debuted a Tenet trailer through Fortnite?
A what trailer?
Trailer for the movie Tenet
Oh wow.
was debuted
Really?
through Fortnite.
Interesting.
Look,
Like, how many people fucking play Fortnite?
a lot.
Everybody,
a lot.
Everybody.
A lot. So check this out. Too old for me. Fortnite is not something I play. I tried, and you need a younger brain.
Killer Instinct.
Right? Yeah. But here's the deal.
Younger brain.
So I'm like attached to Fortnite through my son, and I get excited for these events because he's like, "Hey, they're doing another live event." I'm like, "All right, what time is it at?" Like, and we'll watch. They do concerts. The one of the Star Wars movies, they did a deal where I think somebody important for the movie came on, and they have a little avatar, and they're talking to us live. Concerts, movie trailers, just insane stuff. Like when it comes to marketing, the game is a giant commercial and is the most successful commercial I've ever seen in my life. It's dope.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant. Good for them.
It's so successful they created their own Steam out of it. Like that's how successful that game is. Yeah,
Wow.
that's it.
What is it?
Like
Oh,
they
that
created
was
it
you.
and got
Is it-
exclusives on there. Like it's nuts.
It looked like you were gonna say something, Todd.
Oh, I mean, like comic books, digital comic books. I can see that becoming like really popular,
Yeah.
and then somebody pirating it or licensing it to get the printed version out.
Sure.
But I wonder how exciting that would be to older comic book fans that are really into Fortnite, because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I read the other day that that Disney Infinity, the console game with the toys, makes more money than Marvel Comics does for Disney.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, oh no. Like that, like I was like, and then with all the DC news, I was just like, because if you think about it, like they got 40% of the market share, and it was like a 1.2 billion gross this year for comics. So that's like a 485 million. And I think the last year that Disney Infinity was going, it was like 550 million or a little more, a little less, something give or take. And so I think that like if you can tap into those marketing strategy, like that's the wave of the future.
Yeah. 100%. We kind of talked
It
about
makes
that a
me-
little. Go ahead.
Oh,
was
sorry.
gonna say,
just gonna
Sam-
say it makes me.
Oh no,
Sorry,
I was gonna
Judah.
say before the moment's lost, Sam, you made like a face like, really? Like, is that not what you're tracking? Or
No. I was surprised. That was just a shock face. That was like a shit.
yeah. Okay.
It's the Infinity figures. Fuck.
Yeah, they did $200 million on the Star Wars Infinity figures just the
Wow.
last year.
Wow.
Just the
That's
Star Wars figures.
Fine that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam, you're such an insider that you're not allowed to have non-vocals, because we'd be like, "Ooh, do you got something to say? Give us some juicy stuff." Okay.
I've never played Disney Infinity. I do have a shitload of amiibo for my
Cool.
Switch. Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm not like, I understand the allure of little plastic figurines based on my favorite video games, but
Yeah.
like, the idea that it outperformed Marvel is both surprising and in some ways depressingly not surprising.
Right.
But yeah, that's the first time I had heard that articulated, but I don't disbelieve it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What were we gonna say?
All
Ray?
I was going to say is it seems really common in like new age video games targeted to a younger audience, God of War, Overwatch, they both have comics that you can read on the PlayStation while you're playing the game, right? So like, I'm wondering how the future's going to look if like a lot of comic series are going to be. Remember how The Expanse? No, not The Expanse. Sorry, there was a TV show that tried to like be a video game and a TV show at the same time, and it was like it was like 10 years or so ago now, and the idea was really cool, but the execution wasn't so great. And it makes me wonder if the future of comics is going to be like you buy a video game and there's comics on the video game. You know what I mean? For kids.
It's probably going to be, I imagine it's going to be one of the methods to deliver comics. But I tell you, look, here's what it is. So as millennials, I refuse to call myself a Gen Xer. We are catered to. We're so used to being catered to. But as I keep my ear to the ground, as we talk to people like Matthew Werner, 21-year-old, Webtoons is huge. And I had never heard of it until like 3 weeks ago when I was watching somebody else's stream. And of course, I'm going to be 40 next year, so there's a reason why I have never heard of it. And so when I have Webtoons and I'm going through and I'm like, oh, there's some awesome stuff on here. Some manga, some horror, some adult stuff. Like, I'm like, when so me and my son got done watching The Last Airbender, the cartoon, and I told him, I said, you know, those comics, you know, that you know, to give you more information on it. And he's like, oh, okay. So I'm going to the comic store and I'm like, hey, do you want me to see if they have any? He's like, oh, I read them. I'm like, how? He's like, oh, I found a website and I read it. It's pretty dope. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Digital's the way. They cannot. Eventually, we're gonna die, and you evolve or die.
Well, we're all guaranteed to die, but
that's true. Everything dies.
We'll see.
Millions of people are on Webtoon. It's the South Korean manhwa platform. Tapas as well. That's another popular one.
I've heard of
that.
But
you know, you look at stuff like God of High School or Tower of God. There's a lot of really popular. What's the one that's coming to Crunchyroll soon? Noblesse, which is the vampire one. There's a lot of really awesome fucking cool titles.
I really feel that's the future. That is the future.
Yeah.
Definitely. For sure.
You can't sign the iPad screen though. So
you can just for a limited amount of times.
Yeah.
They're digital. There's like numbers and stuff.
No, you could use your Apple Pencil and you just sign it on a document, and then it lives on forever.
That's right.
And they blockchain it so that it's specific for them, and they never have another different copy. I don't know. I mean, you're right. Like I think the digital stuff, like that's really easy to read it, and then if you have a space problem, it saves space. But it's never going to be part of a collection. No. Like, you're never going to be able to resell those comics.
It's just not. I mean, I hate to say it. I just don't think that's a thing people are going to do. Someday, it's just collecting in general is going to be like this old-fashioned thing that
I just hope. Here's the deal. This is selfish, and I want it to go on forever. But if it stops, I hope it happens soon, so that all my comics become like super expensive and valuable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm looking at Jetta's like middle shelf, the one that's like bowing from the sheer weight of the amount of comic book collections he has on it.
I see it. Yeah. This
here. I have 2 broken shelves on my bookcase because that was where I was keeping my. And here in Haiku, it's like super humid, so they just sort of bow and then just. Eventually, they're gone.
You gotta get some aluminum shelves in there.
I could give you guys just a tour. I have a lot. I do a lot of trades because I like them on my shelf. And
I think there's enough people like you, Judah, that we're not going to be in trouble for a while. Like all of us here have a bookshelf that's filled with books, right?
Mm-hmm. And I have like my Silver Surfer
shrine.
I guess I probably account for at least maybe like a third of Marvel's profits this quarter.
At least. Yeah, and half of Valiant's.
Actually, you know what I have? I gotta find it. I have the Kukui Project.
Did you just say Jew? Did you just say Jew really fast?
Check this shit out.
I was just looking for that. I was like, Where the fuck is my book at?
Did you guys? I thought
I
you
have
guys.
Disco Thunder Groove Bone.
There it is.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's the. That's that one. That one seems to be everybody's favorite. Well, they're both. I mean, it depends. Like, there's a lot of Hawaiian history in Kukui Project. So if you're into Hawaiian history and mythology, then like that really does. But I've seen people like, I've gotten reviewed online where this guy was sort of like, it's like a history book. So if you guys are into it, it's awesome.
I met the creator. He signed it for me, but then he was like kind of a dick, and he invited me back to his hotel room. Said he wanted to show me his penis. It was
Well,
Cancelled.
weird.
Canceled.
Overall weird experience. Yeah.
You walked into the room saying, "I'm here for the gangbang."
That's
like,
right.
I didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how he
your
always
idea.
enters the room.
Yeah.
everybody remembers things differently. You know what I mean? Like, mine is a
He was
crazy thing.
FaceTiming me on the way, and he was like, I'm fucking totally about to do this. This is going to be so hilarious. I'm like, dude, just leave him alone.
So speaking of people getting called out on Twitter, DC Comics got dragged for misrepresenting blurred culture.
Good.
So in an article advertising the Blurred and Bougie Boat Party event at the Fandom 24-hour virtual con, which we talked about before, the word blurred was defined as referring to diverse fans of color from Black, Latinx, and Asian communities who are into gaming, tech, anime, comics, movies, and TV. So my understanding of blurred is that it only refers to Black nerds. So I just kind of the outrage kind of jives with me. But
Now you can be a Black Asian and you can be a Black Latino, but blurred is for the Black people of those, not all people of color, for sure.
Right. The Twitter outrage this sparked Twitter outrage as the term blurred has typically described Black nerds and not all POC.
Yeah.
And the article I read was kind of like didn't really like have opinion on it. It was just reporting it. But so
Probably safe.
if you're going to use the term blurred, it's referring. What would you say? What would be a good term for nerds of color that aren't blurred? But it's a one syllable word.
I don't know. I don't know if like the Asian community or the Korean community has anything like that, but I know for Hispanic,
Weebs.
Weebs.
Or otaku. Otaku. Refers. Yeah.
Otaku is it's like the Japanese word for fan. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there is one. I think it would be up to that community to get one and have it go viral and be used commonly. But I think it is. I think it's good that you have people that are kind of like standing up for this dilution of this kind of conversation, you know. So it would be like, well, I don't want to give an example. It might be a bad one to get me in trouble, but I would just say that I think it's good for them to speak up, and I think it'll go like, look, BL blurred does not mean anything but Black nerd. Don't stop it.
Cool. So this is our last news item, and we're running up to an hour and a half. So my voice is starting to go, and I'm sweating bullets. I don't know if you guys can tell through the screen, but this room gets no AC.
I just can't. I can't do this for too much longer.
So Mary Javins and Michelle Wells are editors-in-chief of DC Comics, and I'm reading for this for the first time, so excuse me if it's weird. Today, a week before the online DC fandom event, DC publisher and chief creative officer Jim Lee was interviewed by Boris Kitt of The Hollywood Reporter. What was to have been a promotional interview rapidly changed into something else. There's a lot to unpack, but Jim Lee confirmed he's still the DC publisher, that Mary Javins and Michelle Wells are the new interim editors-in-chief. So, like, what, like on-the-job training, maybe? Or editor-in-chiefs?
It was a really quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You gotta get somebody in there, yeah.
Like, I was on the phone with DC on early Monday afternoon, and everyone seemed hunky-dory. And then hours later, that's when they sent out the layoff notices. It was a punch nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
On a Monday?
God.
What do you think? Do you think it was a hatchet or was it a scalpel? Like, do you think they had a certain qualification that they were looking for to retain, or what?
It was mostly senior staff that was let go, so at least in terms of like editorial and sales and marketing, and it was in terms of more targeted by department. Obviously, almost all of DC Collectibles and almost all of DC Universe, their streaming service, because all of those properties are now moving to HBO Max. We already saw it with with Doom Patrol and Harley Quinn, and now we're going to see it with Titans and I presume Young Justice.
Yeah.
So
Why not lead with that? Why do you have to create something and then immediately make it obsolete with another identical thing? I don't understand.
Because I think to AT&T's, AT&T, not maybe to their credit, it's not the right way to put it, but when AT&T jumped on, they noticed that, like HBO and Warner was creating their own premium streaming service. Meanwhile, DC already had their own. And I think there was talk about maybe Cartoon Network or something having one too or whatever. And they were just like, why don't you just all put it in one?
Right.
And that's why.
And I feel like the writing on the wall was that with HBO Max, where you and it's funny is hindsight, right? But when I saw these DC titles going to HBO Max, I was like, that's weird.
Why?
There's already a DC universe. Why would you do that? And then when it happens, like, oh, yeah.
Well, I actually the DC universe, I don't think ever quite got the amount of subscribers that they were hoping for.
I subscribe. I actually like DC Universe. I think it's cool.
DC Universe is great. I love DC.
But I just hope they do something like Marvel Unlimited, where they still have a digital option for comic books. That's the only thing.
That's still, from what I've understand, that's the comic library, which is the thing that I give the biggest shit about, isn't going away.
Okay.
Or at least not.
So the app's not shutting down. Just the TV and stuff like that's going to migrate to HBO Max or whatever. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend like I knew this. I was watching Not Near Mint, and one of the dudes on there, I can't recall his name right now, I apologize, but he was talking about how he used to work at a giant company, and if you've ever worked at a giant company, one of the things...
Miracle Man.
Not Miracle Man, there was the other dude that's in the top left corner. But he was saying something along the lines how this is actually pretty typical of when it's time to cut, where they'll take somebody and they'll have... Oh, this dude right here is making $1 million, and he has an assistant that makes $200,000. I'm firing the top dude. Hey, next guy down. You're the next person down. You're the new person, and that's how you can kind of create money by doing that. And that's why you see when you said earlier they fired most of their senior staff. Well, yeah, because they're the ones just making the most money.
And they're leaning on Jim Lee to make everyone feel okay about it. He's like he's like the peacemaker guy. Like, it's okay, guys. Just put Jim Lee in front of a camera, please, just to make everyone realize it's okay.
So here's what I'm getting. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm not surprised that layoffs are happening. I'm not sure. I mean, with the COVID crisis, layoffs are happening in all the companies. So I'm not sure, that it's we're living kind of through extraordinary circumstances. And I'm not. Everybody the thing that people want to say or don't want to say, the quiet thing that nobody's really talking about is, do you think AT&T still would have done this had we never been, through the quarantine? And, there are a lot of people that say, yeah, they would. And there's a lot of people that say, I don't think that they would. And I'm kind of on the fence, but I'm sort of leaning towards, I think AT&T probably would have already done this.
Eventually.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, they were already complaining about a lot of the titles anyway. They were complaining about the movies that weren't doing well. The whole 5G. Remember that 5G debacle with Dan Didio?
Well, that was a Dan Didio baby. So as soon as he got fired, that's why they don't really talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Did he call it 5G to kiss AT&T's ass?
Probably.
I think it's also important to note that the Warner Brother layoffs aren't just DC Entertainment.
That's it.
They're the film division. They're the TV division. A lot of things got
and things outside of DC. That's right. Yep.
Yeah. It just happened to be hit particularly hard. That's
one thing that I have noticed when when you put your finger on the Twitter polls. All the how could DC do this? Rhetoric, or I'm so glad they did this because of insert ideology here. Then
Rob Worst.
Rob
Worst. That's
Rob,
the guy on the top.
Right, there you go. Yeah, that's Rob. Yep, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Such a complicated name, Rob. But the thing is the fans are the ones about this. But when you actually start looking at the creators, no one's gonna be happy about this. This is a hard time. That's hard, right? You just got laid off. But nobody's shitting on DC. You don't hear any creators shitting on DC because they're in the know. They know this is a bigger thing than just a DC title. So
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's shitting on DC. I think a lot of the only people shitting on DC are people that we're not going to talk about today that are like think this is like proof that all their prophecies are coming true. But
you
I don't think
you said it, not me.
I don't think any non-toxic people are shitting on DC. I think everybody understands that it's business.
Buzzword.
And it's people getting hurt. It's a lot of people getting hurt.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's pretty much all our news. I think that's the first time our news has taken the entire deal. That's pretty good. A lot of good discussion. Sam Stone, thanks for coming on. Check out Sam Stone on CBR. Todd Bernardy, awesome. Disco Groove Bone Kukui Project. DM me afterwards. We'll put how you buy that. We'll throw links in the description. Okay. But thank you. Does anybody have any parting words? Anything they wanted to say and didn't?
Read comics and do dope shit.
Yeah.
Where's Polly? We owe $1. We made it a whole show. Re-mentioned him briefly, and we almost made it a whole show without any Donny Cates.
I know.
And that's
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just was gonna jump off, piggyback on the Donny Cates thing, and say that God Country was really good. But go for it.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. I have to read that one. Like I started on Venom, and I'm just like so enthralled with it. Umbrella Academy season 2, it's pretty divisive. I enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I like it. I loved it.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
I liked it.
All right.
I thought it was almost as good as. I thought it was almost as good as October Faction.
Ooh, shit! Fighting words.
All right.
I know. I'm such a jerk. Sorry.
Ace McGee says, "Someone say trans rights." Trans rights.
Hell yeah. Trans life
rights.
matters. All right.
All right.
Take it easy, guys.
See you later, guys. It's been a pleasure.